Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to one of the most insane games of the year. Already a game to remember. This was absolutely phenomenal, an outstanding finish. But let's just do a quick little recap of what this game was all about and what we need to take away from this outstanding game. Before we do that, though, I'd like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps, and let's get straight into this. So the final score is 27-30. Missouri pulls the upset. You're probably going into this video already knowing that final score. But how did Missouri get this win? Well, let's go ahead and do a full recap. So Kansas State got the jump early in the first quarter, but then, Missouri stormed back 10 points to take the lead, and then they went into the second half up 17-14. It was all Kansas State from there. The third quarter was owned by Kansas State. I thought Kansas State was going to finally just take off from Missouri and start playing like a top 15 team, to say the least. And it was looking like it. It was looking like it. They kicked a field goal. They went up 24-17. But then it was all Missouri. They scored a field goal, and then they scored a touchdown. Kansas State was forced to settle for a field goal when it probably should have been a touchdown. And then in the most unbelievable circumstance, I think it's literally raining, and they decide, let's line up our kicker for a 61-yarder. Of course, me being so blind, I'm looking at the TV, and I'm like, oh, that says 51. But I kind of look, I'm like, dude, they're like way back, and I look a little closer. I'm like, oh, my God, he's kicking a 61-yarder? No way. Bro drills it, and Missouri storms the field. There was no flag. It was a damn Missouri towel or something, or pom-pom that they thought was a flag. Missouri storms the field and goes crazy. It was a phenomenal game, great game. Honestly, although that final sequence before the field goal was like the most autistic football I've ever seen. It shouldn't have even been a 55-yarder to begin with, or a 61-yarder to begin with. I can't talk right now. But all them were just like out there, like I don't even know what they were doing. They were either just like chatting, prepare for mic noise. They were either just chatting or something, because then the head coach goes and sprints out and he starts yelling at all of them because there's 5 seconds on the play clock and they get a stupid delay game. Now I can't remember if they ran a play and got some yards back, but nonetheless, it definitely was stupid. It was just so like, it was such a weird series of events, but Missouri lines up their absolute demon of a kicker, apparently. I mean, he probably, in all honesty, we saw Ole Miss kick a bomb, and he probably got his invite to the NFL last week. This dude just got his invite to the NFL. A 61-yarder in the rain, a game winner. Like, what was Justin Tucker's, a 63-yarder, right? Or something like that. That is insane. What a walk-off. What a win for Missouri. But now, what can we really take away from this? From my personal experience watching the game, Kansas State looked like heaping horse shit. Now, I think their quarterback was a little injured, but I think Missouri's quarterback was a little injured as well. To be honest, Kansas State's not a top 15 team. They will probably finish off the season ranked and probably remain in the rankings. But ultimately, this team is not a top 25 team. The only reason they will remain in the top 25 for a majority of the season is because their conference is a bunch of shit. Their conference is bad. And honestly, Missouri and Kansas State, Kansas State will most likely tank in the rankings, probably to like number 24 or 25, and Missouri will probably get ranked. But really, neither of these teams, in my opinion, should be ranked. If anything, of course, Missouri should, because they were showing that they could shoot the deep ball and whatnot. Like, there was multiple times where people were open down the field, and Missouri was actually driving the ball very easily. But Kansas State, they looked like horse shit. They looked terrible. Their quarterback was getting some Heisman talk. That's all out the window. He had a good game. He was 25 for 39, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, but a pick. Whereas the Missouri quarterback was 23 for 35, 356 yards and 2 touchdowns. Howard for Kansas State completed 2 more passes than the quarterback for Missouri. Yet the quarterback for Missouri topped him by 80 yards, and he didn't throw a pick. Ultimately, Kansas State just did not look like the better team here. It definitely looked like Missouri. And ultimately, Kansas State just didn't even look like a top 25 team at all. To be quite honest, I didn't expect this. I predicted that Kansas State would win. I knew it was going to be difficult because before I was making my predictions, I was like, you know what? I think this is like an old rivalry or something, right? Like these two teams probably don't like each other. That was confirmed. And so yeah, it's definitely difficult to travel into that game, right? But I mean, seriously, like Kansas State, dude, let's be real. All right, Missouri's off to a 3-0 start. And yes, they're going to get a bunch of hype, but there's teams like this all year around. Like last year, there was Arkansas, who was super highly ranked and whatnot. Texas A&M and stuff. There's the teams that have high rankings from the previous season. They did good when they really just shouldn't be ranked that high. There's always a team like that, and I believe Kansas State is one of those teams. I mean, after all, TCU was one of those teams. But now I think Kansas State also follows in that train. To be honest, I haven't been impressed by any Big 12 play. Every single Big 12 except for Texas and Oklahoma, which I don't even know if we can necessarily count them as Big 12 because they're leaving next year. But in terms of this year, the only 2 teams that look good are Oklahoma and Texas. Kansas State just lost. They're probably going to sit at the bottom of the top 25, or they might even drop out, which will leave 2 teams ranked in the top 25. Number 4, Texas, and number 19, Oklahoma. And then the rest of the Big 12 is dog shit. Oklahoma State struggled against a horrific ASU team. Cincinnati actually looks pretty good, and so does Kansas. But they're not ranked yet. BYU is at the top of the conference only because of their letter is higher than everybody's. They suck. Houston lost. TCU lost. West Virginia lost. Iowa State lost to fucking Ohio 7-10. I mean, Iowa State's just terrible. Baylor's 0-2, and Texas Tech is 0-2. So, yeah. I'm just like, Kansas State, the biggest takeaway from this game for me is Kansas State should not be a top 25 team. I couldn't see this, but I also kind of could. I was like, you know what? I honestly didn't actually have much against Missouri. I just thought the rest of the SEC was going to be better and more advanced. This is a Missouri team that could be good in the future, but I didn't think this would be their year. I'm not getting ahead of myself here. I still don't think this will be their year, but to beat Kansas State shows that, like, Kansas State's not good. Yes, they won it on a goddamn 61-yarder. I could not believe it. That was truly ridiculous. I could not believe what I just saw. But, yeah, they do that. They win. Other notable takeaways from right now, some games that are going on that I probably won't get around to talking about till the review, the complete all-around review. Utah is only up 17-7 on Weber State at halftime. There was some other close games. Penn State finally pulls away from Illinois. They were struggling all game there. Let's go ahead. It's on top 25, which is not cool. Just trying to look for the games that are already done. LSU absolutely killed Mississippi State. Louisville takes down Indiana in a very bad game. Wake Forest comes from behind on Old Dominion and wins, surprisingly. That they were down big in that game. They were down 7-24, man. Good for Wake Forest, I guess. Boise State finally pulls away from North Dakota in a close game. Same with Wisconsin. And then I'm saving one game for another video. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps. And that's all for me. Adios.